Hi, this is Emily. So I did a time trial of when I started as a caregiver. It used to be I made like $15 bare minimum, like 11.50 an hour. That's nothing. That's when I first started as a caregiver, and this was years ago when I was just starting to get into it. I was like waving myself into it little by little. And when it happened fast. I got in there and I work overnights where there's a lady who has an oxygen tank mask, and I help her with her mask and with her tube. She doesn't like trip on it overnight. And she lives in a condominium kind of a place for seniors, like an assisted living place. I put her trays out on the table, like outside for them to pick it up. It's different from a facility living. It's a condominium unit place with a patio. So it's more homely like. I like it. I do it overnight, so I spend the night there and help her with her tubes all night. Usually 35 years of smoking catches up with you. Eventually you will have those tubes with you. I've never been big on smoking. But when I was younger, I did drink, and I drank a lot. I used to drink Captain Morgan Tattoo a lot. I even mix other drinks with it. Like, we drink wine, beer, and all the other drinks. We would go out to parks, kind of tomboyish kind of girls. We would go out to like house parties. All of it was orchestrated through plans of who I met, but it was not through me. It just kind of happened. We would show up somewhere like at a canyon, and all of a sudden all these bad boys would show up. Bunch of unusual skateboarder kind of guys and unearthly, weird, strange, different, unique people would show up. And things would go on, crazy things would go on. Girls in the Canyon, like you think of Charles Manson, kind of girls in the Canyon. And if we got wounds or got hurt from drinking, it wasn't a big deal falling on the floor. But we were more tomboyish. We went to bars sometimes, but it was too out there. We went to like Ocean Beach one time, and there was a bunch of guys called clown face bitches. They didn't like us. We were too artsy for them, and it was not up their alley. So we left. I remember. So I would have house parties, and at the time I did have some strife with a female. It's usually females that have problems, but not males as much. And females, when they're evil, they could be very malicious. They found like a date rape drug in my system, but I usually had a habit of not finishing my drinks. I didn't usually always finish my drinks, and if I drank a whole entire cup, I would die because I'm 5'2". I'm really short. I'm a short girl. It usually instantly gives you paralysis or you die when you take any sort of date rape drugs. Because I was on Depakote and Wellbutrin then. Those are antidepressants. And drinking all that crap we used to drink, like Captain Morgan tattoos, just continued. It used to be like $44 a bottle then. It's like cherry Coke. It has jalapeno in it. It's spicy. Back then I used to eat like hot Cheetos and stuff that was horrible for your stomach, and now I can't. But back then, I used to just do whatever I wanted and drank a lot then, or drank Mississippi Mud. I like that beer. We would freeze it. Have like mud slushies. We like to drink. We drink a lot. And go to sometimes a dive bar out in Imperial Beach, like the Salty Frog, or to the Plank, and we would drink like White Russians and all that for several years in my 20s. Because when you turn 21, you're like, oh, I could drink. Look, it's legal. Keep on going to a bunch of bars. It's bars. I never got into the scene. I didn't like a lot of the people that I met, like downtown especially. I didn't really like the scene. So we just usually go to like a park or we had a house party and did that kind of a thing. It could catch up with you. You could get sick. I eventually could not write really good. I had a lot of anxiety, and my handwriting was really bad. It used to be really good. And now I do notes for all kinds of things. So I had to practice writing more and doing art and doing pencil drawings. And I remember there was a time, it was during Hail Satan. That was during that movie came out like a 2013. Was it 2019? 2019. That's right. 2013 was my party year. It's funny that's the devil's number, 2013. That was a wild year. There's a lot of drinking in 2013. There was a lot of hanging out like with different characters. And by 2019, I couldn't really go out and do anything anymore. I tried to work, but I had some failed attempts with work, and I was at home a lot healing and I started writing again and doing art, and I set up a bunch of pencil drawings of Lucian Greaves, who's a Satanic Temple. He requested the art. Strange enough, I didn't think he would do that, but I sent it along with a plate with a skull. I wasn't proud of the art. I didn't think it was that impressive. So I sent him like a plate with a skull on it because I was doing like bussing tables at Sequan at the time. So I gave it a plate to him along with a bunch of pencil drawings, and it's all faded out. It was he probably threw it out by now, but all the characters were like comic book to me. The Satanic Temple, all the people who the members remind me of some sort of like almost like a cartoon. So I did it with a joke. It was like halfway joke art. It wasn't anything serious, and I sent it to him like different series I remember, and he looks like a soldier of the apocalypse. He looks kind of like a Nazi. I think he is distantly related to some Nazis, actually. I wouldn't be surprised to be true, being that he's very tall, studious, college educated, uh, very kind of sketchy. He's kind of the guy that he's quiet, shy, but deadly kind of guy, and like has that clouded eye. It's like a scarred eyeball, and looks like a soldier. Is tall with like boots, heavy boots, and like he's intimidating. Lucian Greaves is intimidating. He looks like a leader, and usually you know when somebody's a leader of the group. You could tell, and you could see who's the head of the group. I was definitely not head of any group. I never joined a coven, being that I know that you have to usually drink their urine and their piss and their blood, and I didn't want to do any of that kind of a initiation kind of ritual stuff, or even get too tangled with people that I knew were involved with things I want nothing to do with. So I never actually officially joined a group, but a lot of my friends who showed up were all there almost like in a ritual like sense, that they were all planned out to be there, and it just kind of happened by fate, not planned. Their group is more of an organized group, and even then I thought I was kind of like, nah, this is really corny, cheesy. I just thought it's kind of almost like a joke. So I drew all these faded out cartoon art of little jokes I thought was funny. Because a lot of times you see them interviewed in a video, it seems all pre-planned. It's all acted out. Lilith Starr, one of the members there, used to be a heroin addict. She's a writer. I know she is. Lilith Starr, and her boyfriend or husband, actually it's her husband, he's either an S&M, and like he looks like Eric, the homeless guy you say help, with a big bulging blue eyes. It's funny because we're all connected some way. So there's people who look like each other, like Eric, and we didn't practice S&M, but I was like his mom helping him out on the street, like a motherly character helping him out. I did caregiving even then, helping out seniors then, and helping him out while he's leaning on me. And he wouldn't want to be called a Satanist. Some people don't like those labels. It's like calling a brief a diaper or a depend. People have their terminologies they prefer. He wouldn't want to be called a Satanist or a mystic, really, or a pagan, or those. It's like almost like a bad word, or even a druid. That's a bad word. Call them like ancient. That's a good name. Ancient. They're ancient. Or Cian is the word for ancient in like Gaelic. Cian, almost like kingly like. A lot of them are really proud, like a king, like a leader. Lucian Greaves is college educated. He's very smart and studious, and he will not admit things that are true, and that was kind of the butt of the joke in my artwork. So I'm sarcastic. That's just me. That's my personality, and if you're dealing with tough people, you got to be tough, because he's a soldier, and you could see it. He's a soldier for what he believes in, and he has an attitude himself, and it's like dealing with a bratty kid. And when I helped him 9 months with Eric, it wasn't easy. I could tell you that. Are a lot of fights and arguments about things, because he just does what he wants and runs around naked, half naked. The whole thing was dumb, and I was embarrassed by it, but I put up with it for several months, and I knew it was going on, and why he was doing that was blank eyeballs, walking around acting like he's in a daze here, hypnotized, and It's really serious. Like when I was working as a casino, I'd see people piss on themselves and peeing, and they're obsessed with the screen, trying to make their big one. We had to get a security guard to leave. They could leave because he's in front of a restaurant pissing on himself, and he's wearing all white. You can see all the pee and piss all over his white pants. You can't. He's obsessed with money, and there's people who are obsessed with money as much as they're obsessed with other things. And as I always say that we all kind of live in our own different worlds here. When I worked at Saquon, I didn't really want to work for Saquon, but it just kind of happened. And a lot of unplanned things did happen in my life, like that date rape drug and that Kaiser card that I threw out. And to me, it just never happened. But I didn't write for a while really good or draw, and it was a process of getting back into things and being able to write for notes for being a server or a busser kind of job. And you had to be patient. You have to be patient with the healing process of things. And that's what I learned is discipline through patience and patience with people too as well, because we're all in this world, and only one time we're in this world. You better make the best of it and make yourself useful, like caregiving for the seniors. That is a command, not a demand, to help the elderly and children, all that. And with Lucien Greaves, he has his own style of doing things, and he's really upfront, and that I like. We need somebody that's going to be out there and a spokesperson that's going to be honest and blunt. You know, he doesn't do it the right way, but let him expose what really goes on. It didn't used to be that way back in the 80s and the 60s. Now it's up front, and people are going to go up to you and tell you right away, we're the Satanic Temple. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be at a place like this organization called the Satanic Temple. People are going to take their pitchforks and burn that place as much as it just even got built. Now they get away with it because we live in a different day and age. This is not something that we used to see. My brother and sisters at time in the 90s, no way. An after-school sane program that was unheard of. Now we see it because people are becoming bold. And if he has like all this vigor and boldness and song and dance, let Lucien Greaves song and dance himself out. Let him do it. He wants to do it. This is his life. But make sure he's not committing any crimes against kids. And make sure that he is very upfront honest about the crimes that really do go on. And it goes on in every religious organization. It goes on in the Christians, Satanists, families have incest, goes on, and you know it. I've seen it. I've seen incest in families. It's disgusting and gross. Like, what? You find out all these weird things, and life is not what it seems. It really isn't. It's all planned out.